All right, we are here at the Granite School District. This school district covers large parts of the Salt Lake City area. We are here because this was the school district that had the first pre-K social impact bond in 2013. This is important because that social impact bond is going to set the finance mechanism for the pre-K investments, and those pre-K investments are going to come with a lot of data analytics, both for cognitive data and for health and mental health data on these children, and it's going to be used to create digital identity systems for human capital finance. So the contact for that project, her name was Janice Dubno with Voices for Utah's Children, and she, surprise, surprise, came out of Wharton Business School, right? And so she was setting this up. I'll just read from the description here. It says, in August 2013, the Goldman Sachs Urban Investment Group, UIG, together with the United Way of Salt Lake, J.B. Pritzker, and Salt Lake County formed a partnership to create a social impact bond designed to expand financing for this program, the pre-K. Investors Goldman Sachs and J.B. Pritzker and facilitator United Way, as well as Utah's child advocacy and policy organizations. And so this was done as a pay for success project. It was the model moving forward. It did make money for Goldman Sachs. It was not a particularly expensive pre-K program, and the tool they used to screen children into it was such that the cost offset with special education was if these children needed special education services upon enrollment in kindergarten. And of the cohort of 100 children that were included in the social impact bond for pre-K, Goldman Sachs funded pre-K, only one of them qualified for special education services when it came time to enroll. And there were many questions about those numbers because people said even with the most super deluxe pre-K education you could get, you weren't going to get those numbers. It wasn't going to be that only one child needed it. There was a lot of skepticism around the numbers. There was even an article about it in the New York Times, but it did make Goldman Sachs some nice profit. Now, additionally, some important context is that the Granite School District was the home school district for Lily Eckelson Garcia. Now, Lily Eckelson Garcia started out her career in education, working in a school cafeteria in Colorado, and then she was encouraged to get her degree in education. She did that at the University of Utah, both her certification for teaching, and then later on, I think a master's in learning technology. So her background was always in the technology system. And that's really important to know because all of the impact finance runs on technology. So that's a huge piece of it. And the fact that she not only was a teacher in this district, but then became the head of the Utah Education Association, and then ultimately the head of the entire National Education Association, the NEA, which is the largest teachers union in the country, incredibly influential, and was tapped sort of as a role model by the Democratic establishment, especially because she is a Latina. And many of these social impact programs are targeting Black and brown children. And they're targeting them in terms of things that are doing well for them, right? Things that are doing well. And both of the teachers unions have been major advocates for something called a community schools model. Well, the United Way, which was a partner in the social impact bond for pre-K, they are a leader in getting up all of these public-private partnerships and data sharing agreements so that the data can be shared across platforms with all of the service providers, whether that's counseling, tutoring, housing, food assistance, all of the nonprofits that are packaged up into this. All of the data is going to be very, very fluid, and that is happening in the community schools model. And then increasingly in that model, they are bringing services, including behavioral health and medical services, into the schools, which, while I understand children have very significant needs, when you bring it into a school, their data is not as protected under FERPA, the Family Educational Rights Protection Act, as it is under HIPAA. FERPA is much weaker, and that was done on purpose by President Obama. So it's very problematic to bring these services into the schools, and they'll probably mostly be app-based and telemedicine-based, and so it's very predatory. And people hear community schools and they think it's wonderful, but they're not understanding that it's about human capital. It's about shaping young children in pre-K for life in the metaverse, for life putting their consciousness into a remote robot, and that it's a problem, and that it's situated here in Salt Lake City, which is very much governed from a cultural standpoint by the tenets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and their focus is very much on the goodness of works. And so it fits with their theology, it fits with the idea of doing good works unto others, but people don't know to question the overall paradigm that is a new way of channeling global capital. So this is a very important building, this complex, because of it being a social impact bond, because of it being Lily Eccleston Garcia's home district, because of the involvement of the Salt Lake City United Way that has pioneered data sharing agreements, and because of its situation within the context of the church theology that says do good works. But ultimately what we're talking about in doing good works is turning children into data commodities.
Hold this for a sec.